We are kicking off a weekend filled with events and fun here in Arkansas. High school football games about to get underway. The state fair opened the gates a few hours ago. Some would say we've got the makings of a perfect fall weekend. Meteorologist Tom Brannon. All we need is some cooler weather to go along with it.
Not going to happen.
Yeah, right.
We can't have it all, can we, Rolly?
I kind of like this weather. It makes it great for going out and enjoying all this stuff.
Got sunshine. We've got warm temperatures. We just don't have the cool fall weather. But I did get to see Brooke petting what looked to be a goat or something over there. Can't wait to see that. Here's the shot from of the Arkansas State Fair, the fairgrounds, Barton Coliseum, and if you look closely, you can see some of the rides at the fair, but yeah, you really can't see much of the midway area because, of course, of the trees. There's a helicopter. They have this helicopter. There's a helicopter doing tours out there. It was awfully loud yesterday when we were sampling the food. 71 Mountain Home, 78 Little Rock, off a high of 79 today, 83 down in Texarkana. Made it into the upper 80s in your State Fair forecast tonight. If you're planning on going out for a little while, lightweight jacket or sweater for the end of the night. Temperatures dropping into the lower 60s. I'll have the rest of your weekend forecast as well as high school football, UAPB and the Razorbacks coming up in just a few minutes.
It is also action-packed, so now that you've got your fair forecast, now it's time to hit the midway, and that's where we find THV11's Brooke Buckner. How are things looking out there on this first night of the State Fair, Brooke?
Hello, Rolly from the Arkansas State Fair. I am joined by a lot of friendly faces here. We got this sheep whose name I do not know. We have this cute little goat who you just saw me petting there. We got some chickens walking around. Lots of good company. And come over here. We got some other goats. This one is eating some grass. It's just a good time over here in the petting zoo. Whenever we walked in, we brought in a big camera with us, and they looked at us like, "Lady, where is my food?" So if you come, maybe you should get them some food, or else they might not greet you with the warmest greetings. But anyway, it is a wonderful, beautiful night here at the Arkansas State Fair. The weather is just perfect. Thank you, Tom, for that, by the way. And I think these guys agree with me, guys and gals. So we will catch up with you guys in just a few minutes. For now, I'm going to try to get these guys some food because they keep staring at me. Back to you guys.
Brooke, we will indeed check in with you. The fallout from a shocking case of child abuse has landed at the state capitol this week. Bo Russell reports on what a local prosecutor wants to hear from the Department of Human Services after what he calls months of stonewalling.
The head of the Division of Children and Family Services, Tiffany Wright, faced Arkansas legislators Wednesday as they worked to learn why they didn't help a Mountain Home teenager they were first told about over a decade ago.
29 reports of child abuse were filed over the last 11 years, and all of them were determined to be unsubstantiated and not thoroughly investigated in a case where a child had been abused and, dare I say, tortured for over a decade.
Reports show police found the teen naked and locked in a bathroom in November of 2024. He was 15 at the time he was found. He reportedly told police he was only ever let out to go to school and that he only got to eat when at school. During Wednesday's questioning, Representative Rose pushed officials on why DCFS still hasn't taken action to prevent future failures.
No disciplinary action had taken place. There had been no one-on-one meetings with any of the employees involved, and they had done no research into their database to see if there were any other cases similar to this one.
Rose says that when he asked the DCFS director about the likelihood of other cases, she said, quote, "I hope not."
I'm sorry. Hope doesn't work when you have access to the database. You don't have to hope. You literally can go and find out.
The Van Buren representative says he's heard from legislators and constituents calling for immediate and dramatic reform.
So we have to do a top-to-bottom review of the Division of Children and Family Services, and we have to start at the top and work our way down. And it ultimately, the accountability goes back to the director. The director has to resolve this immediately. And in that meeting, I sensed absolutely no urgency to fix the problems that were at hand.
Bo Russell reporting there, and he did receive a statement from the DHS secretary. In part acknowledges the mistakes and says the case that Representative Rose is referencing marked a failure on the part of DCFS staff, many of whom no longer work for the agency, and she says that it spurred action throughout the division. Police in Pine Bluff searching for a man injured in a shootout who they say shouldn't have been in possession of weapons used in that shootout. It all happened last night at the Broadmoor Arms Apartments on South Wisconsin. According to investigators, officers found several bullet holes and shell casings when they arrived at the scene and a person shot in the leg. They say the apartment owner and 3 other witnesses told them someone started shooting into that unit and then kicked in the door. According to their statements, one of them returned fire from inside the apartment. Now, police are looking for David McCoy, that man on your screen. He's wanted for possession of firearms and fleeing. There are still a few details that we are waiting on the police to release. We'll share them as soon as we get them. New at 6, the teaching certification of Andrew McGann, the man accused of killing two people at Devil's Den State Park back in July, is now suspended. The Oklahoma State Board of Education making that decision this week. McGann previously taught at several schools in Oklahoma and was set to start teaching in Springdale before his arrest. Here in Arkansas, his license is listed as, quote, under review, and McGann's next criminal court appearance is set for next month. About a dozen smaller cities remain cut off from state funding that they often rely on to operate. The law requires the state to withhold what's called turnback funds if those cities don't file annual audits on time. Well, some lawmakers tried to give them a pass and restore that funding today, but as THV11's Carter Thweet explains, other lawmakers resisted.
I think we got a lot of the city's attention when we adopted that motion in July to withhold their turnback funds.
And on Friday, lawmakers decided whether or not they should finally give that money out. Carlisle Mayor John Plafkin says that turnback funding is vital.
Being a small community, you don't get a lot of funding like some of the big towns do, or community cities do, and so yes, that absolutely keeps us viable.
He understands that under state law, the Treasurer's Office can't give that money to cities that don't get their water and sewer audits done. But Plafkin says it can be challenging for a small town to go through that long process.
We've had some trouble just getting the audits completed timely, and that's kind of been an issue that we've had anyway.
And lately, calls have been growing for the money to be given out regardless of if the audits are done. Earlier this week, Attorney General Tim Griffin's office wrote an opinion in which they stated that the lawmakers could essentially undo their July decision to withhold the money. It would be like it never happened.
The question that the Attorney General had was whether or not we had the power to rescind a notice that we had given. And the Attorney General essentially answered that by saying yes.
But both attempts to do that failed Friday. Senator Kim Hammer filed a motion to release the money only to cities that were trying to complete their audits, but lawmakers voted it down, saying there would be too much gray area.
Those cities, 13, whatever the final number is, that have shown no effort, they don't need to be given the same treatment as those that are putting forth effort.
For THV11 News, I'm Carter Thweet.
Carter, thank you. And he referenced another vote, a motion to undo the July decision and release the money. That also failed. There is a solution. It seems pretty simple. We reached out to the state treasurer's office for confirmation. They told us the cities can still get the funds once they get the audits turned in, or at least come up with a plan that satisfies lawmakers and auditors. Play that music. The Friday night lights are warming up as the state gets ready to kick off week 6 of high school football here in Arkansas. THV11 Sports Director Tyler Cass live in Conway tonight with a preview of this week's game of the week. Does it feel like football out there, Tyler?
Well, it's at least starting to, Rolly. Like you said, we're in week 6. We are past the halfway point of the regular season, and yeah, it's, I wouldn't say crisp or even chilly, but it's not hot with kickoff approaching, and that is at least a good sign. It is our game of the week, Cabot versus Conway, the Wampus Cats and the Panthers, and it's homecoming. There's a trophy on the line. What's not to love?
This is going to be a good contest. It's a trophy game, and there's a lot of guys that enjoy getting to play in this. It's going to be a big crowd with it being homecoming, so it's going to be a lot of fun for high school kids to come out and play on Friday night, and that's what it's about.
Yeah, the band is already starting to warm up. You can hear the drum line just off to my side. You can hear the guys warming up behind me. It's all starting to build towards another Friday night full of high school football. And of course, we won't just have this game. We got a veritable cornucopia of games coming your way tonight at 10 in the Friday Night Blitz. All the highlights you'll ever need and then some. I'll be back later on in sports with more from Conway, plus the sporting news from around the state. For now, though, live from John McConnell Field in Conway, Tyler Cass, THV 11 Sports.
Like that, a veritable cornucopia of sporting events tonight. High school football tonight, of course, Cabot, Conway, you saw Tyler, temperatures in the lower 70s, kickoff, cooling into the mid 60s by 10 o'clock. A few clouds rolling in after the break. Got a look at the UAPB homecoming game forecast, as well as a look ahead at some hot temperatures.
Tom, thanks. Plus, the first night of the fair, as we saw, well underway. We're going to come back and check in with Brooke Buckner once again for more fun from Arkansas's biggest event. All coming up a little bit later. But the content doesn't stop when the newscast ends. We've got a lineup filled with new and original content over on THV 11 Plus. It's easy to hold one of your devices while you're on one of the rides at the fair. Here's a look what you can catch over the next few hours. And remember, download THV 11 Plus for free and watch on your smart TV.